YouTube, sometimes you come across a story that is so fucked up that you don't know in which way to tell it, except I can't write a script, I just gotta tell it to you straight. But we're gonna start backwards. I'm gonna tell you the story of Sabine Hilschenz, who killed 9 of her babies. Guess how much time she got in prison? Guess. Life in prison? Nope. Death penalty? Nope. 80 years? 60 years? Nope. She got 15 years. Yes, 1-5. 15 years? I've slept longer than 15 years. My name is Cameron. Welcome to the TruRed Crime Podcast. Now let's get into the story. Now what's even freakier in this heinous story is that the bodies of the babies were found buried in a fish tank and in buckets and flower pots in her parents' garden. Now, I'm no horticulture expert, but that does not sound right. It is said that Sabine herself, who at the time was 42, was an alcoholic and divorced. Sabine had told investigators that she did not harm the children, but left them to die after giving birth alone every time following heavy drinking. See, Sabine gave birth to 9 babies, 2 boys and 7 girls, between 1988 and 1998. She was also accused of killing the first of the 9 babies born in 1988, but the court ruled that the time in which she could be charged in connection with the death had lapsed, statute of limitations or whatever they call it. Sabine herself said that isolation and alcoholism is what drove her to take the lives of her babies. Sabine went on to tell the police that Oliver Hilschenz, who was the only man she ever had sexual contact with, who was the love of her life, was her husband. However, neither her husband or her parents at the time of these pregnancies ever provided her with the companionship that she needed. Sabine had been pregnant 13 times, but contraception was never discussed and not allowed in the family. Sabine gave birth to the first baby in a toilet bowl, submerging its head in water while her husband slept in the next room. In 1992, she gave birth in a small hotel while on a business trip. She left the baby under a blanket and ignored its whimpers until they stopped. Let me say that to you again. She gave birth. I don't know how a woman can give birth to a child herself. I've seen birth. I mean, you can't do that shit alone. She essentially strangled it. Bitch, what the fuck is wrong with you? Too scared to go to a gynecologist for fear of discovery, Sabine kept the next 7 pregnancies secret. When her labor began, she would get drunk enough not to recall if the babies were born dead or alive. She wrapped other babies in plastic sheets and left them in flower pots. Now what's interesting is when the police asked Oliver, the husband, "Okay mate, well, did you not notice your wife was preggers?" You know what he said? He goes, I thought she just gained weight. Bruv, you fucking stupid. Pregnancy, to me, is a very, very specific kind of look. It's a bump. If you are overweight, you don't have a bump. You have bumps. Right? But a woman, like when you look at her stomach, it could be flat and then you see like a curve. You see what I'm saying? Pregnancies are very distinct in terms of the way they look. What on earth do you mean? I just thought she gained weight. Okay, no problem. Let's just say she did. Nobody gains weight every year and then it goes down for like 9 years, do they, you muppet? John Schonbaum, the Minister of Interior for Brandenburg in Germany, he suggested that decades of brutal communist rule in the former East Germany could have caused a more brutal society. 3 times as many babies have been found dead in Eastern Germany as in Western Germany in the past decade. And as I said, eventually Sabine was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Now what's crazy is I think I covered a story in Belgium, I think it was, similar to this, where a woman kept giving birth, and then she hid the babies, right, in like freezers or in like the back garden or in like a shed or something, right? But I'm trying to understand the psychology. See, you watch a lot of true crime, I watch a lot of true crime. There's so much information on our head. We have different motivations from different people. We have a lot of information, so we can think, okay, we can put it all together and we can come to some kind of conclusion. How do you even try and rationalize this? This is all decision making. It's decision making. You chose to drink alcohol. You chose to remain isolated. What do you mean your husband and your family didn't give you companionship? The one thing I will say is I am aware that a support system when you give birth or when you're pregnant is vital. It's not important. It's not needed. It's vital. It's beyond important. My limited understanding of postpartum depression, I conclude that a big reason for it is a lack of support system. But that is a limited opinion because I don't know much. But you understand what I'm saying, right? They say it takes a village to raise a child, but apparently it takes one person to kill 9 children. In Europe, human rights and all this stuff is the reason why sentences aren't like life, right? I believe under European law, to say you're in prison for life, it goes against your human rights or some shit. But don't you agree that when you do this, you give up your right to, well, be classed as human? Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, you don't want to say life? Fine. But 15 years, the thinking is after 15 years, right, we'll try and give this person some kind of, we hope they're remorseful while in prison, and after 15 years they would have gone through the system, they would have become rehabilitated, and then they can go back into society. Let's just say Sabine, let's just say that's true, because she would have been released by the time you see this video, right? Let's assume that's true. Should she be allowed? If she's been rehabilitated, should she even be allowed? Fuck no. Minimum 40 years. Minimum 50 years. Like, what on earth are you talking about? 15 years. Far, far too lenient. Anyway, comment. Tell me what you guys think.